Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons canon, and we're going to talk about levels of Dungeons & Dragons canon. And today we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons weak canon, okay? Level 5. Dungeons & Dragons weak canon, Dungeons & Dragons level 5 canon. All right, so what is weak canon? It's canon where there is evidence that that the material is canon to Dungeons and Dragons, but not enough evidence to say this is a hard proof, right? Like this, not enough evidence to say it's quite obvious this is Dungeons and Dragons canon. So let me give you an example of this. What is a example of Dungeons and Dragons weak canon, Dungeons and Dragons level 5 canon, right? Well, it is Chris Pine's movie Pool Man. All right, so you didn't see Pool Man. I didn't see Pool Man. I can tell you that right now, right? So it is literally this labor of love film, kind of like a vanity project that Chris Pine did, where he plays this. He's the dude from The Lebowski, but a different adventure and different characters around him, right? It was like Chris Pine's like, what if I was the dude? He wrote the movie, he directed the movie, he starred in the movie, pure vanity project. But it was a real movie. It went to real theaters, right? Why? Because he got paid $11 million to be in the Dungeons & Dragons movie. And when he called up some billionaire investor, they were like, oh, I saw you in Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves. Here's the money, right? Like, here's the $20 million you need for your little tiny film, right? And so he plays. Now, I watched spoiler reviews, so I know everything that happened in the film. And I'm going to give you some spoilers here for Pool Man. But he played this character who, solves an adventure, but just wants to, 420 in his room and clean pools. That's his job, right? Whatever, right? Like, it's really nonsense story, right? So how could this, bad Lebowski copy be? And actually, I haven't seen it, so I can't even say it's bad, but I can tell you nobody wanted to see this movie, right? And it did not get reviewed well, right? So how could it possibly be canon to Dungeons & Dragons? Well, there absolutely is a path to that. Let's walk it through. So Chris Pine played Edgin Darvis, right? The bard, and I would say he's probably a 12th level bard. Let's say 8th level bard. In Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves, and he's a harper, right? So that would mean he's probably 12th level. I'm going to say 12th level, okay. Because harpers don't deal with scrubs, right? And, okay, so then you get that far, right? So, but here's the thing. Chris Pine is not just in Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves. He's literally in D&D canon, his image, right? So basically, if you go over to D&D Beyond, which is core canon, right, you will find Edgin Darvis statted, playable as a player character, right, in Dungeons & Dragons with Chris Pine's perfect image. Not some Fortnite, doop-de-doop, this looks like the guy, but it's not the guy. Like, it is literally his image. It is very carefully crafted to look like Chris Pine, right? So Chris Pine is then existent in core canon, and he exists in multiple Dungeons & Dragons realms, right? Then you go to Quest from the Infinite Staircase, and you go, oh, Quest from the Infinite Staircase says that Dungeons & Dragons is connected to every world, every plane of existence, no caveat, right? Like, there's no additional words, right? Like, which means Pool Man's world, right? So when you're watching Pool Man, you could go, wait a second, that's not Pool Man with the name they gave the character. That's Edgin Darvis, who had a bad run and has now used Strixhaven or the Quest from the Infinite Staircase to go to this realm that is completely connected to Dungeons & Dragons. And we know that because he looks exactly like Edgin Darvis, right? Like, that's Edgin Darvis just in our world. And we know he could get there, right, through Strixhaven or through Quest from the Infinite Staircase. And actually other D&D canon books have given paths as well. So that, now you're like, Scott, come on, man, that's a stretch. It's weak. That's why I'm saying it's a weak Canon. Weak Canon, right? So level 5 Canon, in my humble opinion. Every single word you just heard is my humble opinion. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion, when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider like, subscribing, and have a fetch millennium.